Hey everybody, how you guys doing? It's lunchtime, so you know what that means. Another great episode of Lunchtime Talk with Steve. So today we have, like a lot of the administrators. We have people from Broward College that are here with us today to talk to us about the new normal. We're going to talk about the admissions, about different things that are going on now at Broward College, because as you guys know, it's not the same as it was. 4 or 5 months ago. I know it's only been about 4 months. It seems like it's been about 4 years with this new normal and everything. But yeah, so let's go ahead and run the intro and share it out with your friends, your relatives, everyone. Let them know that Steve is on. It's lunchtime. Grab your lunch, listen in, and feel free to jump into the conversation. All right. And while you're at it, just go ahead and if you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button and the little bell. Or if you're watching on Facebook, click the like button on Lunchtime Talk with Steve. Okay. All right, guys. We'll be right back with you to jump into the conversation with our friends over at Broward College. Give me just a moment. Alrighty, so here we are. We are back. All right, so let me go ahead and bring the people in from Broward College. We have a whole panel here, so you guys are going to have some great conversation, and you always have the option of asking questions, jumping in, all that good stuff. All right, so let's bring them in one by one. First, we have Nora Powell. Hey, Nora, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing awesomely awesome. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the group. Just give us a quick 1 minute, and then we'll go ahead and bring some of the others in. All right.
I'm Dr. Nora Powell. I'm the Dean of Health Sciences at Broward College. I am one of the administrators over all the health sciences. I worked in our local community for 30 years as a healthcare provider, and now I'm here to help develop the students so that they can enter into the wonderful world that I worked in.
All right, awesome. All right, and now let's go ahead and bring in Scott. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers and just tell them a little bit about who Scott is.
Okay, I'm Scott Miller. I'm the Dean of Arts, Humanities, and Design at Broward College. I'm a practicing visual artist, and I have the pleasure of overseeing all of our performing and visual arts and design at the college, and have done so for the last 10 years.
Okay, awesome. All right, and next we have Alicia and Roble. And how are you doing today, Alicia?
I'm wonderful, Steve. Thank you for having us. I'm Alicia Smith-Roble. I am from our admissions and registration office as the Associate Dean. I've served various roles here at Broward College for the past 22 years, from financial aid to Seahawk Outreach Services, and now in my current role. And it's a pleasure being here. Thank you for interviewing with us today.
All right, thank you very much for being here with us. And then next we have Brian. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Right.
I'm Brian Anderson. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management at Broward College. It's my job to get our local community interested in coming to school with us at Broward and talking about all the great things that we do at Broward College. I also run a team who helps the students who we get interested in Broward to get enrolled in their first term at the college, like submitting our documents and getting everything ready to have a successful college career with us at Broward College.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and bring everyone in. There we go. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the new normal. And any one of you can grab this question. What is the new normal going to look like? And that's like the biggest thing right now. Everyone wants to know how you're going to be able to do things like, the class sizes, when you have things like lectures or anything like that. How is that going to look in the new normal?
I can start if you'd like. So as I mentioned, my job is to go into the community and talk to our community about studying with us. Obviously, that's going to change quite a bit, especially as we find out, as decisions are made about our high school classes. A lot of my time was spent going into local high schools and talking to students about coming to study with us. So a lot of that work, probably all of that, will need to be done remotely now. We've been doing quite a few remote presentations already, including remote parent nights. This week, we're actually hosting a remote open house all week. So that's probably what it's going to be like in the high school classrooms and in the community at large, with our community partners, with everyone. This coming fall is just a lot of remote presentations and getting the word out about our programs that way through using Zoom meetings and other types of media instead of in person.
Okay. All right, that's good. And does someone else want to make a comment on that as well?
Yeah, I can jump on board for a second here. We've spent the last 3 months sort of trying to figure out what the fall semester is going to look like. And we're really focused first and foremost on the safety of everyone, making certain that everyone has a safe environment, whether they are coming back to the campus, and we do have some classes coming back to campus, as well as the bulk of our classes, which have been kept remote or online. So we're trying to keep the learning environment at the same high quality level while flexing in the face of a pandemic and all of the issues going on outside of the college. So we're trying to be very flexible.
Okay, so now go ahead.
I was just going to say, in health sciences, there is a radical disruption because the majority of our classes are face-to-face traditionally. And the pandemic rolls into town, and we had to make a really swift change in the middle of March. The college did an amazing job of coming in and training faculty to be prepared to teach online, and not necessarily fully online like you would think of an online course, but remotely. And they trained over 1,000 faculty, and not only in how to use and train on the platform, but having equity and empathy in the online environment, and then sharing the best practices. One of the best things was, some faculty were more in tune to using that remote delivery than others, and so they shared how they did it. And so there was a lot of training, a lot of difference that has allowed us to move forward and continue to train the students.
All right. So one more thing too that you just touched on, Dr. Powell, with and this goes to one of the other questions I had: the difference between online learning and remote learning or distance learning, and that's something I don't think a lot of people actually understand the difference. If you can go ahead and explain that a little bit more to the viewers.
Sure. So online delivery is considered 100% asynchronous. There is not the interactive component. Remote learning is a general term described when the learner and the instructor are separated by a distance, and it's considered synchronous. So to give you an example, my instructors would log on to the platform, as would their students, and deliver a live lecture to the students. So it's really not different than a student sitting in a classroom. A student can talk, a student can raise their hand, they can ask questions. So it's an interactive environment, delivering lectures and podcasts and discussions. And the online component has breakout rooms, so the students can go out and they can do a group project, then come back in, deliver their projects. There's a lot of opportunity with this. So the online, the students are separated from the instructor, and there's not really that interaction. There is a certain amount of discipline that is required by a student to do fully online, because they have to log in, they have to do it. There's no one coaching. There's no one delivering online. You have to read. And the remote learning is a fully collaborative environment where you're still getting the same lecture delivered to you in a live format. And then the greatest part is it's recorded. So if a student, there's a lot of changes that have gone on in everyone's life right now. So there's a lot of students who work changed. They're trying to work to survive. They can still go into the recorded lecture if they had to. They can go in and they can use it to study. So there's a lot of opportunity with the remote learning.
All right. So one of the other things too is, what about the admissions aspect of it? How now are you doing that? Because people aren't able to walk in and walk around the campus used to, and different things. So what are we doing different with that?
So what we've just developed was an online system called QLIS, and our students can go through broward.edu/QLIS to have one-on-one interactions, just the same as if they were in person, but it'll be via telephone, or if there's additional information that needs to be shared, we'll use the Zoom platform, and that gives us an opportunity to have that rich discussion and exchange while not necessarily being face-to-face. We've also taken pretty much all our forms and moved them over to a dynamic form platform, which means that the students can upload and fill out all their information beyond the application. So things like residency, or some enrollment and verification, or even some immigration paperwork. They can all do that via dynamic forms through our forms link. And that allows us to, that's actually enhanced our whole process. Because we have now a better and a stronger way to connect with students, making sure that their paperwork goes through the pipeline more seamlessly. So in a sense, it's actually enhanced our admissions process rather than hindering it, and giving the opportunity for students to have more than one platform to really have engagement with the admissions team.
And what about okay, so now if a person has questions, how easy is it then for them to reach out to someone at BC, and how easy is it for them to to get that question answered? Because whereas before you just walk into the registrar's office, or I mean, so how easy is it to get in touch or to reach out to somebody?
So basically, they would go to that QLIS platform, and they would enter their information, their phone number. You receive a response via text saying your wait time may be a certain amount, similar to what it was like in person. Then a representative will contact the student via phone. And then as they have the conversation, if they feel that the student needs some more support, they'll send a Zoom link to the student to have that face-to-face interaction if necessary. So on the average, the wait time's been about 10 to 15 minutes. And of course, it also depends on how quickly the student reaches back to us on how quickly the line moves.
That's pretty good. 10 to 15 minutes is awesome. I mean, that's actually quicker than it was in the. I haven't been through the BC process, but typically that's quicker than it would be at a school. My daughter actually just went ahead and registered at BC. She was going to go to Santa Fe up in Gainesville. but she wanted to do the EMT or the paramedic course here at BC. I
Yes.
so she's gonna do that here before she goes up to Gainesville probably next year or whenever. I don't know exactly when things are gonna get back a little bit better, or she might just go straight from here. I think you guys also do the credit. Well, UF takes your credits as well, correct?
Correct.
Yes, they do.
That is correct.
Perfect, because that's where she's ultimately going to go to UF.
Go Gators.
I think she should be watching now too. So, but yeah, so she had this whole thing laid out until COVID-19 hit, and then she just had to quickly change it around. And now she's registered at BC. She starts her classes, I think, like in about a week or in like 2 weeks or something. I think, I'm not sure.
That's awesome.
That's
So
fantastic.
just so you know, so to bring comfort to her since she's listening, you say, well, how did the pandemic change the healthcare world? And you look at our clinical sites, and the clinical sites some of them have had to shut. We're so blessed in this institution that we have a state-of-the-art 66,000 square foot simulation center that it is incredible. And not only that, we have a simulation ambulance with one of our hospital partners, and students can come into a fully visually similar hospital experience, the same equipment. We keep all the different hospitals use different equipment. We bring in the hospital all the different equipment. We have mannequins, state-of-the-art, high-fidelity mannequins, which have lung sounds, hardened lung sounds. They sweat, they tremor. That one delivers a baby. There's all different things that these mannequins can do. So there's really not anything in the healthcare realm right now that we can't do virtually by simulation. And the guidance from the accrediting bodies has allowed us to do that. So things are moving forward in a different way. It is a new normal, as you said.
And so right now, with the way that things are, you're still able to do these classes, the simulations, and things like that. Or are you? Better question then, I should say. Are you having in-person classes with some of those things, the ones that you can't really do remotely?
That's exactly what we're doing. Anything that we can run remote, we run remote. All lectures are remote right now in the health sciences. The labs are on campus. Using PPE, personal protective equipment, and distancing as much as possible. And anything, we do everything that we can, not here, but there's certain skills and practices that you have to do in person. And so those are the things that we're still bringing people on campus for. They're still going into the simulation center. We're doing in person in health science.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm sure she's going to be happy to hear that. Because that was one of her biggest concerns was not being able to get the hands on. So that's great. So what is it exactly that we're going to see when we go into the schools as far as like the changes? I know we have the 6 feet, but how then are you going to be able to walk around campus and still keep that 6 feet distance?
Well, we've put together, like I said, it was about 2 or 3 months in crafting. We got a consortium of people from across the college to work on this. People can still walk onto campus right now, but if it comes down to the classroom experience, we are abiding by CDC guidelines. We are keeping the distance in the classrooms. As Dr. Powell said, we're using PPE. Always, it's mandatory. But then for certain classes, to keep the numbers of students up in the classroom, we're actually splitting classrooms into 2, and we're broadcasting much the same way we're broadcasting right now to your audience. We have added new technologies into the classrooms so that we can limit the numbers of people in the initial classroom, but we'll have a secondary room where the rest of the students are, with a lab monitor there, so they can raise their hands in the secondary room and ask questions of the professor in the primary room. And then we'll switch students from one room to the other. So we're trying really hard to make sure that all of these classes that we have on campus that can't be delivered remotely or online, they still get the same kind of rich quality that they would have had before. And so it's been a big collaboration between faculty and the administration and facilities and campus safety. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We meet about twice a week to discuss this.
And one of we have a comment that someone posted where it says BC's medical programs are of a high caliber. So there you go. You get that kudos, you know.
Right on.
They are, and I really anticipate that this will not impact the caliber of student that we put out. In some cases, it could be even higher. There's such an interaction of students right now, and because we are limiting some of our class sizes, there's even smaller ratios of students to instructors. So I do believe that you will see when they come out just as strong a student as we've had previously.
Yeah, because if you're actually limiting the class sizes, then that might even be better, because now instead of having, and I don't know what your class size was before, but let's say instead of having 25 students to a teacher, if you limit it now to 15, that's almost like a study group. That's good.
And the technology Scott was just talking about is incredible for health science, to be very honest. Our labs, which run small numbers anyway, they're mandated by accreditation. So if we have a radiography positioning lab where we're going to put a person on a table and teach people how to position the person, we only need to have technically like 2 or 3 students in that room, and the others can be in a room next door. And they're watching and they're listening and they're interacting and they're asking questions. They're seeing how their fellow students positioned and how they should position. They're hearing all the questions. And then literally, like Scott said, we're just going to switch rooms, and the people who are watching are suddenly doing. And so it's an amazing technology. It will be interactive with Zoom. We'll be able to have iPads that will be utilized, that will be able to zoom in to see someone who's doing an IV close up or some really fine thing. So it is really, it's different. It's different, and it's great, and it's exciting.
So it's almost like, you know, definitely like taking us light years ahead.
It
For sure.
Give me just 2 minutes and I'll be right back with you guys, because I have to run a quick commercial break. All right, guys, don't go away. We'll be right back speaking to the faculty and administrators at Broward College. Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate. 754-213-2820. If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving.
Well, I know I got what you want. I know you like that dive shrimp. My southern fish and them geechee grits. My granddaddy make you have a fit. I try to give you all of my best. I do it straight from the heart. Cook it straight from the soul. Come on now. Straight from the soul. Yeah. Straight from the soul.
Ooh, that's what it is, what it is. That's where it's at, that's what it is. Come on down and shuck it and jive it. Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us and we shuck it.
Alrighty, we are back, and today we're talking about the new normal at Broward College, and we've been learning a lot about how the new classes are going to be, how the class sizes, and how they're going to do the difference between switching classes and things of that sort. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, just go ahead and drop them in the comment section, even if it's on the replay, because we do check them on the replay, and we will answer your questions. All right. Again, if you haven't already done it, click the like button on Facebook or the subscribe button on YouTube with the little bell so that you guys will know whenever we're online. All right, so today we have a few people here with us. We have Brian Anderson, we have Nora Powell, Scott Miller, and Alicia Robel. I keep wanting to say, I'm going to remember your last name. It might be at the end, but I'm going to remember it. But what I wanted to find out too a little bit more was the financial aid, because
Yes.
we've having so many, like, I do a lot. I volunteer a lot with the Broward County schools, with different schools and different high schools. One of the things that we were looking at before the pandemic was, especially with my daughter, we were looking at things like FAFSA and different financial aid and the documents that you need and all these different things. So how are you gonna? What is it that you find to be the biggest challenge now with the financial aid with the new normal, or even before the new normal? What's the biggest challenge with financial aid that the parents need to look out for?
Well, I think that your standard financial aid is still the standard. Okay, applying through FAFSA, filling out your paperwork. Maybe getting some of the paperwork could be difficult. So the normal challenges have still been there. It's those unexpected challenges that are coming up for students that they're facing. We're dealing with more unemployment, more food insecurity, more just a plethora of different situations. So we have implemented an additional department, which actually started a year and a half ago, which never even could have foreseen this current situation to support those needs. And that's our Seahawk Outreach Services Department. And they're really there to do that supportive lifting in that area, where they're looking at the students' needs holistically past just the basic financial aid application and the funds that come through there. So any student that needs help, they can either call 954-201-4SOS, and they'll be able to speak to somebody through the SOS department, or email sos@broward.edu for those additional situations, whether it be housing issues, financial issues, employment issues, and again, the food insecurity, which we were already facing issues here in Broward County and trying to support. Now, for students that really need to contact the financial aid office, they have the option to use finserv@broward.edu if they're a new student, or we now do appointments for the financial aid office through their Broward College BC Navigate application. So we do have at least more interaction. And I would also refer to Brian, as he's on the front end with students and doing a lot of FAFSA workshops. I'm sure you can speak to some of the challenges on the financial aid side as well.
Sure. Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, it's filling out the FAFSA is still the same. It's it's not the easiest form to fill out, but it's also not the most difficult. The great thing that we do at Broward is we offer financial aid FAFSA workshops Monday through Thursday, every day at 12 o'clock, where students can log in and view a Zoom presentation with an admissions counselor to kind of talk through how to complete the FAFSA. And then, like Alicia had mentioned, students can now make an appointment to talk to a financial aid advisor specific to their particular issues through the BC Navigate platform. If students just have general questions about filling out the FAFSA or financial aid in general, they can also go to the QList platform that Alicia had spoke about. It's just broward.edu/QList. And one of the recruiters can choose to speak to someone about general financial aid questions. And one of the recruiters can kind of just walk them through the very general issues that many students have with the FAFSA, without getting into their personal financial situation.
So what about students that are international students or out of state students? What how is that changing? Because I mean, do they still have the option? And I know Alicia was just talking about things like helping with food and housing and things of that sort. Does this apply to international students as well, or how does that work?
I'll let you answer that, Alicia.
Well, international is it's a little bit more challenging. Our international students that are classified as international come in with a certain level of support already. So the traditional financial aid, they're not eligible for through Title IV. But there are some cases where at least the SOS department can assist with certain challenges. It's still a challenge for us to fully support international students financially because of some of the stipulations and restrictions that we have, again, with federal funding and some of the state funding as well. But we work hard to meet those needs through different community resources and support systems that we have already built throughout Broward County. As far as out-of-state students, they are traditionally eligible for financial aid based on criteria, of course. And then we can look at, again, if they need the additional support beyond the regular financial aid, that would be grants, loans, scholarships. We look at the SOS department would look at the whole picture to see how else we can support them. And overall, I think one of the biggest financial challenges for our students have been moving to technology at home with laptops. And what we've been able to offer as an institution has been a laptop loaner program. They initiated that in the fall, the spring, as soon as we started transitioning to remote learning. We've been doing it for the summer as well, and we're looking at financial ways to financially support students being able to purchase their own laptops through our Barnes & Noble bookstore as well.
So a person that doesn't have a laptop at home can either borrow it or, but when you say purchase it through the bookstore, is it going to be something that's going to allow them to make a down payment and then small payments, or do they just buy it outright at a discount, or how does that work?
We're working towards having a financial aid component so that we have the eligibility available. And again, it's based on eligibility of the student, of whether or not they'll be able to purchase it. But that's that's actually a big step forward because we weren't able to allow students in the past to put purchases towards the computers and whatnot because it was textbooks first all the time before.
Yeah, that's actually a really big thing. I mean, I that would help a lot of students because, I mean, when it comes to high school, like now, I believe Broward County Schools handed out over 80,000 laptops during the pandemic. I mean, that's great, but what it translates to is there were 80,000 people or students that didn't have a computer at home. And
mine included.
and I'm thinking this is 2020. I mean, but the thing is, it's like so once those kids now transition to college, they don't have the option of getting that laptop from the Broward County Schools anymore. So your program actually is a great program to help them to continue that education and help them to go forward, because honestly, a lot of those students probably wouldn't even be able to do the college courses if they didn't have the program that you're talking about. So how do they go getting with that program? Do they just go into they can't just walk into the bookstore, but
Well, for the loaner program, there was an application to be filled out with the institution through the SOS site or our COVID-19 site. On our Broward.edu page at the top, you'll see a banner. It says COVID-19. You click and almost every resource we could possibly put or any change that we can possibly put, we put right there. And we put that there at real time. So actually sometimes there's things that get posted right before we even know about it. So that is the best place to look if you have 100 questions. They're all answered. We're using it too. It's been fantastic. That's for the loaner program. And then for the bookstore, I believe we're still working some of the details out, but it should be like the traditional bookstore experience. The one thing to note is the bookstores are open. They're open Monday through Friday. I want to say 9 to 4, Monday through Friday in person at each campus. And just like traditionally, you can go to the campus of the class that you go to and purchase your books. And if you're doing regular payment, but with financial aid, you provide them the information, your student ID and all that in order for them to do that. And then they would just work it out that way.
Okay, so now let's say the book. Now, do they have pre-owned? I guess we don't say used anymore. Do they have pre-owned as well, or is that everything brand new where you're gonna have to pay the brand new prices?
Dr. Powell, Mr. Miller?
I would say it depends on the course. Some of the courses have lab codes that you can't buy the used one. You have to buy the code. I think it really depends on the course. And I would defer to Scott Miller on that, see what is in his area.
I know that we actually make a valid attempt, the professors make a valid attempt to try and use older editions of books because the information is the same, but the price point is much lower. We're always cognizant of that. I mean, we're held accountable by the state for textbook affordability for new books, but then we try and go a little extra way and make it so that our students have access to, in my area, it's not a health science area, so there's not science that's constantly sort of updating. The arts have been pretty static for a long time, so we don't really, there might be a groundbreaking artwork, but it's not a life or death situation. So we can use an older book where in Dr. Powell's area or the nursing area, they need to have newer texts for sure. But we're always cognizant of the fact that our students, a lot of our students are first time in college, and maybe for their family, first time in college. And so they may not be expecting the price point that happens in the bookstore. So we're very aware of that, and we try and make it so even now so that they're getting the best bang for their buck that they can have.
Yeah, because they walk into the bookstore and they see a book for $100 and they're going, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we definitely try and use, maybe the next last edition if we can. Sometimes those editions just aren't available, and we're kind of stuck with the newest edition. But in most cases, the one that was put out 2 years prior is still available, so we can do that for them.
Now, this may be a bit premature, but do you guys have, and this would probably be more of a Dr. Powell question, any kind of curriculum or anything that's going to include things like COVID, or even how to spot the symptoms, how to treat people? Because yours is a nursing program. Do you already have that included in there?
We update our programs as we go when we have things like this. I mean, this is not the first thing we've had to deal with. We've had to educate our students on hepatitis C. We've had to do it on Ebola, on West Nile. We have active clinics that run on our campus, which the vision care clinic's not running right now, but we normally do. So we always get these precautions and teach students, infection control and standard precautions, and making sure that everyone knows, protect the patients, protect us. So it does get integrated right away. I mean, they're in their firsthand experience right now learning it. We still have students at clinical sites. There are some clinical sites still open for it. So, they're learning. And to be honest, it's a learning curve for even a lot of our faculty who work out at the sites, because it's changing. The one thing that's happening consistently is everything is changing. What is good for today isn't necessarily good for tomorrow. So I think in healthcare, you have to be very nimble and you have to be ready to make changes as they go.
And when you were talking earlier about the simulations and the things that you guys are doing in the classroom, I started to remember when my daughter was a little girl, and when she was like really young, probably 5-6 years old, and I was trying to remember the name of the place that we would take her to, Wanadoo City over in Sawgrass.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's Sawgrass Mills.
Yeah, and it was so crazy because she always said she wanted to be a doctor, and I
There
wanted
you go.
of going to the hospital and even like the little ambulance ride and everything, and I mean it was pretty expensive to go. It was like, I think at the time it was like $20-25, and they charged the parents. I always thought, why am I being charged? So it's like parents have to pay to go in too, even though we're not doing anything. It's like, really? I don't know. but that was a great thing. So that when you said about doing the mannequin and everything in the classroom, it automatically brought me right back to the Wanadoo City one. That was awesome. So what about if students wanted to come in and do a tour of the campus? Are you still doing campus tours, or are they virtual tours?
That would be virtual tours. We're not at this time anyways doing in-person campus tours or information sessions or any of those types of things. It would all be virtual. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this week we're doing a virtual open. This is our virtual open house week. So last night we had an information session. It was an hour long from 6 till 7. For people who maybe just got interested in Broward or maybe applied recently. Tonight, we're having an information session from 6 to 7 again for students who are required to take a placement test before they can start at Broward. Certain students have to take a test to make sure that they're able to take a certain level of math and English courses. We're also having a financial aid workshop either Wednesday or Thursday. And then the financial aid workshop, is Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And then on Thursday, the final virtual open house session will be resources that are available for students who are enrolled and will be joining us in the fall. So to answer your question in a short way, no, we're not doing on-campus tours, but we're doing everything we can to give students the resources and the information they need virtually.
So you guys, I mean, to my viewers out there, to the parents out there, the students that are going, you have no excuse now. I mean, you have all the information right in front of you on your phone, your laptop, whatever you need. So there's no way that a person should say, I didn't know.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way for me to do so. I can share the links of the virtual open house days that are the remaining, as well as every Tuesday. So today it's going on now, unfortunately, but every Tuesday going forward through the month of August, we'll be hosting information sessions very specifically about our career and technical education programs, which are the short-term certificates and degrees that folks can get if they need to reskill or they want to upskill, if maybe they've been laid off during this time and they want to get into a new career. We're doing information sessions every Tuesday at noon for we call them the non-traditional population, maybe the not so recent high school grad who needs to make a transition and do a different career. So I can share that link if there's a way for me to do so, so that your viewers can take advantage of those sessions.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead and put the link in the feed, and they'll be able to see it. And now that you just mentioned that too about people that were laid off or people that are getting their second career going, if you will, how does that work when it comes to financial aid? Because right now you have a lot of people that don't have the funds,
Right.
And I mean, is something under maybe like the CARES Act or something that gives them some kind of funding?
Yes,
Well,
I'll let you answer, Alicia.
Well, they would, if they're already attending and they've already done all their financial aid application and everything's already settled, the next thing is always to talk to the financial aid office and let them know of your current situation so they can see if there's anything else that they can do to support the student. Then the next phase is again that 954-201 for SOS. They can help with any additional support. Then with the CARES Act, there is an application. I believe it launches again on the 31st for the fall, and it's based on eligibility. But there is some funding. We've put about 50% of our funding of the CARES Act towards students. The rest is being used to enhance our remote learning and the technologies that we need to support students in this environment. So we do have some money put aside through the CARES Act, through the college. We actually started our emergency fund in the spring prior to COVID, and it kind of all worked together where through the SOS department, we were able to distribute funding to students in emergency situations. So we've actually been a little bit forward thinking in the sense that we saw Broward County and we understood the needs of our community and had already started setting up things like this to support the community and the student environment in which we live in. And now with COVID, having the CARES Act on top of it has been an additional support. So the student can also, finish their information. Whether you think you're eligible or not for financial aid, it's always best to apply. Get that going. Apply for that CARES funding, which will be posted through the COVID link. And then, of course, with another additional layer of support through the SOS department. We don't make promises we can't keep, but we sure do try to find ways to support our students the best they can, especially in the times that we're going through right now.
Yeah, I always told my daughter when she was filling out the applications, I told her apply for everything. I don't care if it says purple cyclops from Mars, apply for it. I mean, whatever it is that there's money, if there's $1 on the table, apply for it. And I would always tell her that, and always try to look for money for anything that's available. One of the things, I mean, I guess this is a good thing for some of the students. I remember where, as soon as like first day of school, the first thing you had was like all these people that, oh yeah, you could get a credit card, just sign here.
Not anymore.
Now, you don't have to worry about that. It used to be, you're in debt $50,000 on your first day of school, but that's a good thing. Now, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about too. What about things like financial classes? Do you see that becoming a standard as part of
Well,
like
yeah. Financial literacy has always been very important to Broward College and getting the word out. When we can't host a financial literacy course, which we usually do as workshops, what we do, we have a online financial literacy course that we work with through Student Lingo. And that should be the SOS site for a resource. I can't offhand remember the entire link for Student Lingo, but it's like Student Lingo / Broward College. Students can go in and actually, it's a great prep for courses if you go in and do this now, if you're starting in the fall, because we look at things like you have the opportunity to do how to do an online class, how to time manage, how to financial literacy, academic honesty, all those things are all encompassed in this one platform. So it's on demand. So, kids are in bed, you got a little time to like regroup, go online, do the form, after work, and, you have any time you can do the workshop. So that's a great availability to students. And then, of course, through the years, through Student Life, our Student Life department has actually gone completely virtual. It's amazing what they've done in student life to engage students. And they do a lot of workshops that have to do with financial literacy, student development, and making sure that students stay engaged and connected. Wellness, they're doing wellness on through Facebook Live, through Instagram story, all platforms imaginable. So we found ways to support the students holistically, even in this day and age. And at the same time, we've had those going already. So it just was it was a seamless transition, except for the enhancement with student life.
You know, what's so crazy is, you know, we used to tell our kids, stay off of Instagram and all that crap and get to your schoolwork. And now we're saying, do your schoolwork.
It's true.
It's so funny, you know. I was just a friend of mine sent me this thing. This was a while back, like, you know, maybe a couple months ago, and I remember the math teacher saying, and it was saying the math teacher was showing, you're not going to always have a calculator with you. You need to learn, you know, algebra and all kind of stuff. Nowadays, we have a calculator with us. We walk around all the time, so things change, you know. What do you guys see the new normal being, or how long do you think this is going to be, or is it going to be continuous?
It's not going away. It's not going to stop anytime soon. And so, I mean, I think we need to, you know, this is all a transitional period. We're still in the transition. We made the quick changeover to remote, and now we are looking at how are we refining. That's these new cameras coming in. And so when we finish the cameras, then it will be the next thing. So you just have to keep looking for ways because, you know, realistically, some of this stuff may not be so transitional. Some of this stuff may become permanent. There may become permanency to how we have delivered because some of it has been so successful. And so it will be, you know, after the fact, which I don't know, is that a year? Is that 2 years? Who knows when this is going to go away or if it will ever go away, you know? It will be a reevaluation of the entire process to see, you know, what were the best practices at the time and what gave us the best outcomes. So, but I mean, I don't think we can look for this to go away, and I don't think we can look for a real quick vaccine. When you think about even the flu vaccine each year has multiple strains in it. They're trying to come up with a single strain. So you're going to have mutations of COVID, and the single strain's not going to handle it. So it's you know, get your mask and put it on. That's the bottom line.
I'd say if there was a silver lining to this, though, that it's caused all of our faculty to sort of embrace technology and embrace different forms of delivery. And so, like Dr. Powell just said, we don't know when we may be able to transition back to fully on ground, but we've been so successful at delivery and at being flexible. It was very gratifying to see even some of our really truly older faculty, how flexible they were and how open to change when presented with you have to change or this isn't going to function. So I think it's going to transform the way we deliver classes in general forever. Like even if we go back to on ground, I think that there's going to be a much larger component of students and faculty that are now very comfortable with this. And so, you know, I can't imagine actually having to drive to a meeting anymore because we do this all the time. So,
I agree.
And I think it's shown us like there was a lot of time wasted in just traveling.
Yeah.
To your point, Scott, I think the student experience as well. Two of our biggest issues were childcare during class and transportation from one campus to the other, or even from home to school.
Yep.
And this is resolved. Students are now able to take a class at any campus from home. Their children can be in the other room doing what they need to do, and they don't have to worry about them completely disrupting a classroom because they really don't have a place to put their child during class. So in another sense, there's another silver lining. We found a way to assist our students who have children and transportation needs.
I agree.
Who would have thought, right?
I agree. I agree.
And Joanne Rossi was just was commenting. Broward College has an awesome IT department.
They do. They have supported us diligently.
Yeah, what's so crazy is when we think about it, 10 years from now, this what we're calling now the new normal is going to be so normal that people aren't going to remember what it was like before. And like at my regular job, I have there are a lot of, I call them kids, but they're in their 20s, and when we talk about stuff that before, some they're like, really, like you used to be able to smoke in an office and smoke on an airplane, and they can't imagine that you would be able to do those things. And I'm like, yeah, it used to be like that. So you're going to talk to people in 10, 15 years, and you're going to say, remember when we used to be able to just walk around without a mask? And they're like, really?
Not wipe down your groceries.
You could go to Publix and you didn't have to go through one door and out the other. You could just go through any door. And like, really?
Or get in trouble for going the wrong way down the aisle.
Yeah. I know people still give me looks when I'm going the wrong way, and I look down at the arrow. I'm like, oh God, now I see why. It's so crazy, but those are the things that we have to do. Give me just one moment. I need to run another quick commercial break before we leave. But just one moment, okay, and then we'll be back to wrap it up. Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate. 754-213-2820. If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving.
Shucking and jiving, Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shucking.
Every time I run that commercial, I get hungry. I feel like
I do too.
shrimp or something.
There's the song stuck in your head the rest of the day too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to go down there and check it out and see, But so let's go ahead and get like a 1 minute wrap up from each of you, and any information that you want to share with the viewers. Let them know more about your department or even some of the new programs, anything at all that you have. We'll go ahead and start with the ladies first. We'll start with Dr. Powell first.
Okay, so my 1 minute wrap up. Thank you first for having us here, and we really appreciate it. Broward College offers an amazing opportunity of an affordable education. We've been an Aspen top 10 for the last 4 years with an opportunity to win the prize this year. We train individuals coming in my division in between 1 to 2 years, coming up, making a living wage where they can support themselves. And hopefully, if they're lucky, move out of their parents' house if they're still in it. And it can take people literally from poverty to prosperity. And there are amazing faculty. I'd be remiss if we didn't say we have incredible faculty who've been so dedicated to this whole transition. And really, the faculty are the backbone of the college. And so I think if you're not enrolled, I think you should enroll now. Now's your opportunity.
All right, awesome. All right, now Alicia, let's go to you next.
Sure. Again, thank you, Steve. This has been wonderful. And to all of you out there, if you haven't enrolled, this may be the time to do it. It definitely gives you a chance to increase your skill level, whether it be in health science, but also there's a lot of jobs that we're looking at that are, as they say, COVID. They're going to give you the opportunity to go beyond if something like this were ever to happen again. So strong careers, strong skills, get that base now. And, it's a great time to just sit down and hunker down on that information and get it done. And by the time this is over, you'll be out in the job force and you'll be ready to serve. And you might be able to actually start serving in the community and working right now by the upskills that you've acquired. So I wish you all well, and we hope you come by and see us soon, virtually, of course.
All right, Brian, let's go to you next.
Yes. Thanks again, Steve, for having me and us. I see that you shared my my links, which is great. I hope that anyone that is interested in possibly upskilling or just hearing more about Broward, that you'll join us at one of the events that Steve has posted there. Even though we're large, we have 63,000 students. A lot of times I still feel like we're one of the best kept secrets in Broward County.
Mm-hmm.
We've got awesome faculty. We've got awesome services for our students. We're super affordable in terms that when you compare us to a state university or especially to the private universities in the area. We're super affordable. And we're going to get you where you want to go, whether that is a short-term program that'll get you working right away when you graduate within a year or 2 years in some cases, or if you want to transfer to UF or FSU or any of those big, great Florida institutions. All of our credits will transfer there. You're guaranteed admission to one of the state universities in Florida if you do graduate from Broward with your AA degree. So we're just an awesome opportunity for most students who live in Broward County. And so I hope you'll take advantage of all we have to offer. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. And now we'll go to Scott.
Well, Steve, I want to thank you and your audience for having us today. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you guys. I wanted to say, as a shameless plug for my own area, that we have Associate of Science programs in audio, music production, as well as film production. And as we all now know, content is king. Everybody is trying to create content. And so if you're looking to sort of upgrade your skills and get into the media area, this is a perfect opportunity. And I'm gonna wrap up everything by saying now is the perfect time to come back to school or to start school, because we are ready and waiting to have you come and get you the education you need. So thank you very much for having us.
All right, and I thank you all for being on the show. I mean, this was awesome. I got a lot of information. I'm sure my viewers learned a lot as well. I like the idea too of people going back to school and getting a certificate or something, because honestly, excuse me, honestly, we start to see how dependent we are on particular parts of the community. What we're calling now, what's the word that we're using? Oh gosh, I can't remember what it is. But the workers that we can't do without. Oh gosh,
The essential workers,
Primary responders.
the essential.
Yeah.
Essentials.
Yeah, there we go. And the thing is, I mean, yes. So we have the essential workers, and we're really, we're really pushing hard for a lot of the ones that are out there to get a certificate or get something. I'll be honest. I'll be straightforward. Most of the essential workers aren't being paid as essential workers, so we need to get them back into the schools, get that Six Sigma, get the whatever you you need
Yes.
to get an AA, get an AS, whatever, so that you can now, instead of being the frontline essential worker, you can be the one in the background making the decisions and getting paid. BC is a good college to come and go to. So I applaud all you guys. Go out, reach out to it. You have the links right here. You cannot there's no excuse. That was the biggest thing before, was the excuses. Oh, I don't have the time, I can't do this. Hey, it can't get easier. If it was any easier, I would literally have to like send an Uber for Dr. Powell to come to your front door. That's the only thing that was easier than what's here right now. All right, but guys, I thank you guys for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And if anybody wants to reach out to the departments or anything that you heard on the show, I'm going to put the links in there. The SOS, different ones. So we already have some of the links in here. Take advantage of it. Click on the link. Watch what's going on. And it's not expensive. How much is is it per credit at BC as opposed to, let's say, one of the other schools in the area, your St. Thomas or UM or one of them? Well, I know those are expensive, but
yeah, we cost about a little bit under $120 a credit, and at those private schools that you mentioned, I mean, it's 10 times that amount. So.
That's what I'm talking about. $120 a credit, can't beat that. So like I'm doing a commercial for BC, and
We like that.
We do.
It's not a commercial, but it's just it's. I tell my daughter and I tell the younger generation all the time, I'm 50 now, and I wish I knew this information when I was in my 20s, when I was whatever age they are, because like my daughter's 18. I wish I had this information then, because there's a lot of things that I would have done different. So as I tell the younger generation, don't make the mistakes and wait until you're 50 and then say I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You have the information right now.
And Steve, tell your daughter to stay with us to get all the way through her associate in arts degree. We have the same credential, or we have the same requirements to get into UF as those other schools. There's really no reason to go away to a community college in the area of where that university is, because all the community colleges use the same course numbering system. So any Broward County residents should stay and go to college at Broward College to save money with housing and all that stuff.
So, and that's another thing too. Well, I got a couple of comments here I wanted to bring up real quick. Joanne Rossi was saying thanks to for the panel. The conversation was good and informative. And Crystal Swinton, she also says thanks for sharing the information. So that's another thing I wanted to mention too, which I think a lot of people don't realize. When it comes to the financial aid, and the person gets, let's say, $6,000 in financial aid, and they only spend $2,000 between classes and books and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Explain to them what happens to the rest of that money.
Save it. Or
Yeah.
it's meant for living expenses, of course. So if you have your grants and your loans and some scholarships, and it goes above and beyond the cost of your attendance, like your immediate costs. But put that aside, because you want to be able to, if you have an emergency or you need the funding, to use it. Now, we're considering cost of attendance. We consider, housing and transportation and those kinds of things, of course. But if you have a flow of income and you can support, put that money aside and use it for when you need it, it turns into a better situation for you in the long run. It's all it's all budgeting. Otherwise, you can walk away no matter where you attend, you can still have a lot of loans.
Well, and the thing is, a lot of times too, you don't even need to spend that. If you don't spend that extra money, and after the end of 4 years, you can walk away with a little chunk of change. You start your life after college with some money in your pocket. So it's almost like they're paying you to go to school. I mean, listen, this is a no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, I hate to keep sounding like an infomercial, but guys, you got to get it. I mean, if it's not BC, because I got people that's listening from all over the world, check into the colleges in your area. Whether if you're in the Caribbean, check into to UE, to the University of West Indies. If you're in the U.S., check into your county. The schools, the community colleges, which I think most of them now, if not all, are 4-year colleges now. Correct? Because I mean,
Most.
yeah, most of the ones that I heard that used to be 2 years, I think a lot of them are now 4-year schools. But either way, check into it, do something, because I think it was Dr. Powell that said it earlier. When the next wave hits, and who knows, it may not be another corona, maybe something else. Maybe the Bud Light virus. I don't know, but I'm just saying. When it hits, you want to be in a position that you can work from home and you can do something else, But anyhow, speaking of that, it's my time to head back to work. This has been an awesome lunchtime chat, and I really appreciate you guys being on the show. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you having us here.
Later. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So guys, I brought the information to you as always. Every day I'm trying to bring you more and more information. This right now has been like an awesome chat today. We were able to bring all this information to you from BC. We were able to bring, and again, this applies to wherever you are. You can still go and register for the classes online. I don't care if you're in India, if you're in Europe, if you're wherever. You can do BC classes online. Click the link that you see right there, the ones that I dropped in the feed, and just watch some of the things that they're doing and decide if this is for you or not. But honestly, we have to do better. And if this is what's going to take you to get to the next step, let's go ahead and get you to that next step. All right, guys, go to my website, go to lunchtimetalkwithsteve.com, and you can see some of the links. Click on the Get Help section. We have everything from 211, which will help you with your rent and your light if you have a problem with your light bill or your rent. Click on the Suicide Prevention hotline if you have any kind of issues. You need someone to talk to. You need to just to chat. Sometimes we don't realize how just talking to someone can help. The link is there. If you're looking for food, you need some food for your house. You don't have enough money, whatever. We have Feeding America on there as well. And all of these are national programs. So you just put in your zip code and boom, it just tells you where in your area you can get the help that you need. Also, we have the National Unexploited Children Network. So if you go there, check on it, just put in your zip code, you will see kids that are either, kidnapped, run away, whatever the case may be, but they're missing. You might be able to help bring one of those kids home, because you might pass that child in Walmart or in 7-Eleven or wherever. Their parents are worried about them. Check it out, all right? You might be able to bring that child home. But definitely, guys, I implore you, take care of each other. You are your brother's keeper. All right. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We definitely will have another interesting conversation. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and do a random act of kindness for a stranger. Okay. Peace, people. Please visit lunchtimetalkwithsteve.com if you would like to be a guest or advertise on the show. If you're interested in any of the products or services you saw on the show today, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website, lunchtimetalkwithsteve.com.